Oprah Winfrey, Nonpan Namsam, Julia Sweet, Mary Barra, Carol Tom, Susan Wojcicki, and Ruth Porat. What are the things they have in common? I will tell you about it. All these women are the businesswomen that became successful in the reputation business field. And do you know what they have been through to have this much voice to participate in the world of business?
Welcome to our presentation about how women get in the business world. First of all, let's talk about how women have been involved in business field since 17th century. Since the 17th century, women's opportunities were limited by society and politics. They typically work in a home, which is to running a household, farm, cooking, making garments, spinning yarn, weaving, sewing, and mending clothes. The law at the time allowed women to carry money and debts in their own name, but they required the permission of their husband to own a business. So a widow often had the independence to manage her own future. At the time, women who want to own a business need to go to Bank of North America to find their financial tools, such as loan. Despite the expectations society places upon women, they learn to use the limited power available to them to run a business and build fortune for their own. For example, in 1778, Rebecca Young needed to find a way to support her family. From experiencing in sewing, she used her skill to make flax blankets, drum cases, and other supplies for the Revolutionary Army. She became well known for her flax business, and like many artisans, Young often needed credit to buy her supplies and hold upfront business expense. When she needed money, she turned to the Bank of North America to find a loan. Moreover, in the beginning of 18th century, the men were responsible for agricultural labor, while the women are responsible for domestic chores. And in the 1840, as the Industrial Revolution and factory labor took hold, more women went to work outside the home. For instance, 31-year-old woman named Rebecca Lukens found herself a widow and the new owner of Brandywine Iron Works in new factory. As uncommon as it was at the time for a woman to be an iron master, Lukens took over and led the company into a new era of innovation and industry.
The Industrial Revolution made country resort to the limited natural resources, in which country fought over territories for the precious material, in which introduced the World War. Our women compatriots were forced to enter the workforce, involving and stepping in place of enlisted husbands and brothers in factories, shops, and offices. However, women still perform their tasks similar to what they are doing in the household. Not until during the 1980s to 1990s that women gained more education in university, in which they propelled themselves into the white-collar position, such as law firms, financial institutions, and many more. Not until the 2000s, we saw females associated right to the top spot in the firm hierarchy, including CEO, CFO, and CMO. So now shifting back to the current era, there are numbers of women in the business world that are worth looking into. And my colleague, Lisa Gon, will dig deeper onto the statistic regarding the business women in today's world. Thank you.
So, considering all those facts of what women needed to face in the history to be able to step into the business world, the business women in this current world still have some challenges they have to face as well. Firstly, workplace sexism. Even when women had proven that they could outperform some of their male peers, people still have doubts about them. This was even agreed by the CEO of Chanel, Maureen Chiquet. She said that we're used to seeing men lead, and so we have an immediate confidence and comfort in what they might do, even if they're less qualified for a job. And we're not as familiar with women leaders, so we question their skills. And as women, we always need to work harder to prove our competence. Secondly, unconscious bias. Men are not deliberately to hold women back, but they might do so unwittingly. So unconscious bias helps explain the lack of women at the upper management level. we're all predisposed to pick teammates who look like us. And since the majority of CEOs are men, it makes sense that they tend to hire other men for leadership positions. Thirdly, the unequal pay and unequal voices. So if you take a look at this picture, the pink proportion shows the number of women who are educated. And this means that women are now better educated than men. But if you take a look at this statistics, it shows a very few number of women who can reach the top management level in different companies. So this means that when it comes to making decisions that most affect our world, women's voices are not heard equally. So now, let's talk about the unequal pay. Women are less successful when it comes to salary negotiation. And a survey on negotiations shows that 68% of women accepted the salary they were offered in the first place, while nearly half of the men negotiated before accepting a role. And challenging that women don't ask for raises. But later on, a survey in 2016 has proven this wrong. So it shows that women are equally as likely as men to ask for wage increases, but they're also 25% less likely to get one. But being a woman in this business world has some advantages as well. Firstly, a diverse workforce is an innovative workforce. This means that men and women will inevitably have different experiences and backgrounds, which shape their approach to business. Challenging each other and collaborating with people who think differently can breed creativity and promote the innovative ideas to push the organization forward. Secondly, women represent huge economic power and offer important customer insights, since women are accounted for a very big percentage in the shopping market nowadays. And lastly, women excel at the soft skills needed for business leadership. In the recent global research, it's been proven that the majority of millennials are dissatisfied with the conduct of men in their own country, and leads to the statement that the world would be a better place if men thought more like women. So just take these three examples of the women that we are going to talk about. So I'll pass on to my friend Jay to talk about the first person, Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey's story can only be described as a rag to rich story. She was born in extreme poverty in Mississippi. She revealed that during her childhood, she got raped and groped by her relatives and had to wear a potato sack as a dress. With her tough childhood, she used her own experience to empathize with her listeners, which has helped her in constructing the people's person. She started her career in the TV program in Baltimore. With her charming, beautiful smile and her brightness, she was recruited by a Chicago TV station to host her very own morning show, AM Chicago. With Winfrey's extraordinary ability, she got an offer to run her own show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, which is a national syndicate program that ran for over 25 years until 2011. The infamous program has netted her over $30 million. During the same period, she owned her first business as a production company, Harbor Production. Oprah's vision for a production company is unheard of in the industry at the time. She chose to employ her own marketing team and post-production team, unlike the conventional. This very lean strategy is very self-efficient, as she can alter or add new shows whenever she wanted to. Her determination had paid off, as she got included in the Forbes list of 400 richest Americans, and had become the first Black women Americans to get into Forbes list with a net worth estimated to be over 340 million. Not long after her business had grown tremendously, she opened her own TV cable network and is now pursuing charity work, giving donations to the less fortunate. To this day, she became one of the most powerful women in the world. With her independence, empathetic personality, which propelled her to be successful, with an estimated net worth of over $1 billion. After looking at the most powerful women in the world, now let's take a deep dive into one of the most promising young entrepreneurs, Miss Melania Perkins.
For the second example, she is the one that not many people knows, but many people use her platforms, which is Canva. Canva is a company founded by the younger founder named Melanie Perkins, which she was only 19 at the time in 2007. Melanie was studying at the University of Western Australia. In the university life, she worked as a Photoshop teacher to taught other students to use the platform like Microsoft and Adobe application. And she found that the program is very hard to use. So she coming up with an idea for an online tools to create work easily. Then it coming to Canvas. She started from launching a website for students to collaborate and design their profile pages and articles. A few years later, in 2010, she has a chance to encounter with Silicon Valley investor to pitch her idea. At the time, there are not many people believe in a young female girl. She put her effort a lot to pitch her idea and impress investors. So then, the legendary venture capitalist will see her potential and invest with her project. Then she worked as a developer, marketer, CEO, and many duties by herself. Today, Canva has helped create close to 2 billion designs in 190 countries, and within 5 years, she made headline as one of tech's youngest female CEO. The company is now worth $3.2 billion with it all start with a younger female. So Melanie is one of the good example of younger female success entrepreneur.
The last person here is Ms. Naparat Gunhiran, or Madame Tank. She's the vice president of Shaiseri Metal and Rubber Limited. Her company manufactures military vehicles which are capable of withstanding blasts that would tear through a traditional armored vehicle. So, how did she get to that position? She first started off in a conservative family where her parents expect her to grow up, marry, take care of her husband and kids, but her story was a bit different than that. It started off with her mother-in-law where she wanted her and her husband to have a very successful business of their own. So she started out fixing military vehicles with her husband, and they know that they could improve their business. So they started to design their own vehicle. It took them 10 years and 5 designs to finally get the first military armor vehicle that approved by Royal Thai Army. And from there on, she's been visiting many army bases around the world. And because she is a woman, they don't really show any signs of being threatened by her, so she can walk quite freely in the armies. And nowadays, her customer bases are widely around the world. So this is how she became a successful businesswoman of Thailand and acquired her codename, Madame Tank.
So, we have reached our final destination for how women succeed in a world full of businessmen. We would like to end with a side note that you all can succeed, regardless of gender, but it has to be your determinations and your own will that will propel them into being successful. On another last note, we would like to leave you with this inspiring quote by Oprah Winfrey. Do the one thing you think you cannot do. Failed it. Try again. Do better the next time. The only people who will tumble are those who never mount the higher wire. Thank you.